All right, get ready, because we're diving headfirst into some seriously fascinating territory today. The Apocrypha, specifically the Book of Enoch.
Oh yeah, we're going deep.
And, the stuff you sent over, it's really got me intrigued. This book, it's like it was wiped off the map, gone for centuries, and then, bam, it reappears.
It's wild, isn't it? Like a secret suddenly coming to light. Really speaks to how these ancient texts have this way of, well, enduring. You can't just erase them.
Right. So before we get lost in Enoch's world, let's, well, set the stage. What exactly are we talking about when we say Apocrypha?
Okay, so the Apocrypha, they're this collection of writings, ancient Jewish and Christian, that, well, not everyone agrees belong in the Bible. It's kind of like imagine a book club, right?
Yeah, okay, I get that.
But not all the chapters agree on which books make the cut.
So some are in, some are out, depends on who you ask.
Exactly. And like the excerpts you sent over, they mention how Protestants, they usually don't include the Apocrypha in their Bible, but Catholics, they accept some, calling them deuterocanonical books.
Okay, so even within Christianity, we've got different versions of what's considered like official scripture. Interesting. So where does the Book of Enoch land in all this?
Ah, Enoch. See, that's where things get a bit, well, controversial. It's part of the Apocrypha, but it zeroes in on the nature and deeds of fallen angels.
Fallen angels. Yeah, I can see how that might cause some issues, especially back then.
Oh, it was more than just issues. We're talking full-on denouncement.
Seriously.
Oh, yeah. One church father, Philastrius, he straight up called it heresy. And Rabbi Simeon ben Jochai, well, he went so far as to curse anyone who believed what Enoch had to say.
Wow, they really came down hard on this book. So this wasn't just a friendly theological debate. This was like a full-on battle of beliefs.
It challenged the status quo, this idea of fallen angels spilling secrets, forbidden knowledge to humans. It was seen as dangerous, disruptive.
I can see that. Shaking things up, especially when it comes to faith, never goes over well. So this book gets denounced, cursed, but how does it actually disappear for like 1,000 years?
Active suppression. Think about it. Condemnations, bans, maybe even book burnings. It's chilling to think how history can be, well, manipulated, rewritten like that.
1,000 years is a long time to be lost. What brought it back from the shadows?
It's like it refused to stay buried. 2 centuries ago, it resurfaces, bam, right back on the scene, shaking things up again. And here's the thing. Many early church fathers, guys like Tatian, Irenaeus, Clement, Tertullian, Origen, they actually liked Enoch, quoted him even.
Wait, so some early church leaders were cool with it, but later on it's condemned? What changed?
It's complicated, right? Lots of historical and theological stuff at play, but then, boom, the Dead Sea Scrolls get discovered in the 20th century. And guess what? They found Aramaic and Enochian texts among them.
Like finding a missing piece of a puzzle.
Exactly. And there was this scholar, J.T. Millick, dedicated his life to piecing it all together, compiled the history, translated the Aramaic manuscripts, a monumental effort.
Sounds like a real-life Indiana Jones adventure, but with scrolls instead of, lost treasures. But okay, I'm dying to know, what does the Book of Enoch actually say?
It's a wild ride, let me tell you. Filled with vivid imagery, pronouncements, very apocalyptic. One passage that always gets me is directed at the fallen angels. A warning. You have not been steadfast, nor done the commandments of the Lord, but you have turned away and spoken proud and hard words with your impure mouths against his greatness.
Wow, okay, that's pretty harsh. So what kind of forbidden knowledge did these rebellious angels share?
Oh, all sorts of stuff. Enchantments, root cuttings, astrology, knowledge of the clouds, celestial signs, you name it. The book suggests that these teachings, well, they led humanity down a dark path. Corruption, sin, the whole 9 yards.
Like opening Pandora's box and unleashing chaos upon the world.
That's a good way to put it. The world described in the Book of Enoch, it's consumed by suffering, violence, injustice. Imagine a collective cry of anguish rising up, echoing through the ages.
So someone must have heard those cries, right? Was anyone listening?
Oh, they were heard. The archangels, Michael, Uriel, Raphael, Gabriel, they see it all unfolding and they're troubled. They become advocates, bringing humanity's plight before God, pleading for some kind of intervention.
So even in these ancient texts, we see angels as these intermediaries fighting for justice.
It shows how dire the situation was. Even these powerful archangels close to God, they're moved to act on behalf of humanity. It really underscores the gravity of what the fallen angels had done.
So what does God do? How does he respond to all of this?
The Book of Enoch portrays the flood as God's judgment, a necessary cleansing of a world steeped in wickedness. like hitting the reset button.
Right, so the flood we know from the Bible is a big deal here, too. And the fallen angels, they don't get off scot-free, do they?
Absolutely not. Azazel, their leader, gets singled out for punishment. Bound hand and foot, cast into darkness, covered with sharp rocks. A complete separation from the divine.
That's intense. The book isn't messing around when it comes to consequences.
It emphasizes the severity of disrupting the cosmic order, defying God's will. And the imagery, it's graphic, powerful, meant to drive the point home.
What about Enoch himself? Is he just watching all this unfold?
Oh, he becomes a central figure. God chooses him as a messenger to the fallen angels, delivering the news of their impending doom.
That's a heavy burden to bear.
Imagine being the voice of judgment. The fallen angels, they're filled with regret, despair, begging Enoch to plead for mercy on their behalf.
Wow, so they realize what they've done.
They even ask him to write a petition to God, begging for forgiveness. It's a poignant scene.
Do their pleas work?
Sadly, no. God rejects their request. They're condemned to witness the destruction of their offspring, the giants. There's a real sense of finality, no turning back.
Emphasizing that some actions have consequences that can't be undone.
Precisely. The Book of Enoch doesn't shy away from divine justice.
Okay, I have to ask about Enoch's visions. He's taken to heaven, right?
Cool.
What does he see?
Oh, it's mind-blowing. Secrets of the cosmos, realms of angels, the damned, even witnesses the final judgment. And there's this, get this, he encounters the tree of knowledge.
The tree of knowledge. Whoa, that's huge. It's like straight out of Genesis. What's its significance here?
It's depicted as the source of forbidden wisdom, guarded by angels. No mortal can touch it. It symbolizes the allure and danger of knowledge.
It's like that question, is there some knowledge too dangerous for humans?
A question that's haunted us forever. The Book of Enoch seems to warn us about the limits of human understanding, urging humility in our pursuit of knowledge.
So let's talk about Noah. What's his role in all of this?
The Book of Enoch has a whole section devoted to him, the Book of Noah. And his birth, it's described as extraordinary. Imagine a baby, white as snow, red as a rose, radiating light.
Whoa, wait, what? That doesn't sound like any baby I've ever seen.
Right. It hints at Noah's special status, like he's marked for a great purpose. And the book recounts Noah's vision of the flood, with Enoch guiding him, explaining its meaning.
Like a passing of the torch from one chosen figure to another.
And then there are the giants, mentioned in both the Book of Enoch and the Book of Giants, which is like a companion piece, adding another layer to the story.
Are we talking about the Nephilim from Genesis? Those like giant beings?
Exactly. The Book of Giants dives deeper into their origins, what they did, and how they were ultimately destroyed. And it was preserved in several languages, showing how widespread these stories were.
So these giants, were they always seen as like monsters, destructive forces?
Well, the texts we have are fragmented, but we see glimpses of their actions. Disrupting things, violence, even abducting women.
So not just big and strong, but a real threat to, like, the order of things.
And the Book of Enoch even connects them to the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, sometimes a 5th element like ether or spirit.
So they're like embodiments of nature's raw power, capable of both creation and destruction.
And that might be why they were seen as so dangerous. Imagine beings who could disrupt the balance of the cosmos itself.
Okay, I'm trying to wrap my head around all this. We've got fallen angels, a world on the brink of chaos, a flood, these enigmatic giants.
And this is just the beginning. The Book of Enoch raises so many questions, challenges our assumptions about history, spirituality, the whole shebang.
I'm ready for more. What's next?
In our next segment, we'll dig even deeper into the meaning behind these stories, the philosophy, the theology, the whole enchilada. Think about it. What did people back then believe about the afterlife, judgment, humanity's place in the grand scheme of things?
Can't wait. Stay tuned, everyone.
Back again, ready for more Enoch.
You bet. Last time, those fallen angels, the flood, the giants, man, it's a lot to process. But I keep thinking about those descriptions of, heaven and hell, the punishments. It's intense.
Oh, yeah, the imagery's meant to grab you, remind you of the divine, the power, the awe.
And Enoch's visions of the afterlife, I mean, it's almost prophetic, right? Giving us a peek into what's waiting for us on the other side.
You're right. They offer a unique window into ancient beliefs about, judgment, what comes after. Like, Enoch talks about a house of fire, guarded by angels, surrounded by, get this, streams full of living fire, where the wicked are, punished.
Okay, that's vivid. So we talking hell here, or maybe like a purification thing.
It's open to interpretation, right? But the imagery definitely evokes both, and it ties into this big idea in Enoch, divine justice, this idea that it's meticulously measured.
Measured, like God's got a cosmic scale weighing good deeds against the bad.
Exactly. The Book of Enoch, it hammers home this point. God sees everything, nothing's hidden. It's not just about punishing the wicked, but making sure every soul gets what it deserves, good or bad, like a cosmic accounting system.
So it's not just the big sins, even those little white lies, they count.
Every action has consequences, that's the message. And for those who choose the wrong path, well, let's just say Enoch's full of warnings. Woe to those who stray from righteousness, that kind of thing.
Give me an example. What kind of role are we talking?
One passage, it talks about a fiery fate for the wicked. In blazing flames burning worse than fire shall ye burn. Not exactly subtle, right?
Okay, point taken. But it's not all fire and brimstone, is it? What about the good folks, the righteous ones?
Oh, there's a place for them too. Enoch describes this garden of righteousness, a place of peace, abundance, where the righteous live long, happy lives, like paradise on earth. Beautiful trees, delicious fruit, the whole 9 yards.
So paradise isn't just like an afterlife thing. It's something we can achieve here. Reminds me of the Garden of Eden.
That's the connection. The Book of Enoch taps into that imagery, a yearning for that lost harmony with the divine, a reminder that paradise is something we can strive for.
Okay, I got to ask about the tree of knowledge. Enoch sees it in his vision, right? But what's the deal with it here?
In Enoch, it's like in Genesis, a source of forbidden wisdom, guarded by angels, off limits to mortals until, well, Judgment Day. It's a powerful symbol representing the allure of knowledge, but also the danger of seeking what's forbidden.
Is it saying that some knowledge is just too dangerous for us? Like, curiosity killed the cat kind of thing?
It's a question humans have wrestled with forever, right? Think Pandora's box, Adam and Eve. There's often a price for seeking knowledge we're not ready for.
So the tree of knowledge in Enoch, it's a warning. But what kind of knowledge is so dangerous? What secrets are they hiding?
Maybe it's knowledge about the universe, creation itself, who knows? The book leaves us wondering. And that idea, forbidden knowledge, it still fascinates us today. We're drawn to the unknown, but also wary of pushing too far.
Okay, we've talked about judgment, punishment, reward, this forbidden knowledge, heavy stuff. But why should we care about these ancient beliefs today? Do they even matter?
It's a good question. What's amazing is that even though these texts are ancient, the questions they grapple with are timeless. Good and evil, the meaning of life, what happens after death, we're still struggling with those things. Exploring these texts, it connects us to our past, how people viewed the world way back when.
Like peeking through a window into another time.
And through that window, we might learn something about ourselves, the questions that have haunted humanity for millennia.
Now, Enoch's prophecies, are they all about the end of the world?
They're complex, layered. There's definitely that apocalyptic element, the judgment, the upheaval, but there's also a strong theme of hope, renewal. It's not just the end, but the possibility of transformation, righteousness prevailing.
So there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
A lot of emphasis on a just and peaceful kingdom being established. That message of hope, it's found in many religions, offering comfort in tough times.
A reminder that even when things look bleak, there's always a chance for something better. Now, the Son of Man pops up a lot. Who is this guy? And what's his role in the prophecies?
In the Book of Enoch, he's a divine figure linked to judgment and salvation. Imagine a being who existed before creation, his name known before the stars were even formed.
Whoa, this is a serious player.
His arrival is a turning point. He judges the wicked, upholds the righteous, brings about an era of peace and justice. Often seen as a messianic figure, a savior.
That classic hero archetype, right? The one who comes to save us from ourselves. It's a story that resonates across cultures.
And it speaks to this deep human longing for hope, redemption, a belief that even in darkness, a brighter future is possible.
There's this line in Enoch, it says, "He shall be a staff to the righteous, whereon to stay themselves and not fall, and he shall be the light of the Gentiles, and the hope of those who are troubled of heart."
Beautiful, isn't it? That's the essence of Son of Man, that hope, a source of strength, guidance, comfort for those seeking righteousness.
A reminder that even when things are tough, there's always that spark of light, a chance for change. Okay, switching gears a bit. Enoch gets taken up to heaven, right? Is that literal or more symbolic?
Well, probably not abducted by aliens. It's more like this idea of ascension found in a lot of religions and myths, like Elijah's fiery chariot, Paul being taken to the third heaven. It's symbolic of a spiritual journey, transcending the earthly realm.
So it's about a profound spiritual experience, an encounter with the divine. And for Enoch, It's about receiving knowledge, visions to share with humanity.
He becomes this bridge between heaven and earth, bringing back insights. And that idea, a chosen one receiving divine revelation, it's a common thread in many traditions.
Those prophets, mystics, they claim to have experienced something beyond us, and they come back with messages.
Enoch's part of that lineage, and it speaks to this yearning for connection with something bigger than ourselves, wanting to understand the cosmos, God's will. We crave guidance, meaning, and these figures, they offer a glimpse into that other realm.
Okay, last one for this part. The Book of Enoch and the Book of Revelation, there are some connections, right? What's the link?
Good eye. Revelation's its own thing, but there are parallels. Both have these vivid descriptions of heaven and hell, angels, demons, prophecies of judgment, and big changes coming.
So Revelation's drawing on Enochian tradition.
Hard to say for sure, but they both tap into that apocalyptic vein, suggesting these ideas about the end times, judgment, good versus evil. They were swirling around in both Jewish and early Christian thought, contributing to this larger conversation about humanity's fate, the cosmos, offering different angles on the same big questions.
Like pieces of a puzzle, each one adding to the picture.
And it reminds us these ancient texts, they're not just isolated things, they're part of this huge tapestry of human thought, belief, and they're still shaping us today.
We've covered so much. Heaven, hell, divine justice, even revelation. And these ancient texts, they're not just dusty old relics, are they? They're full of insights that still resonate today.
Glimpses into how people lived, thought, what they feared, hoped for, and they make us confront those timeless questions that never really go away. In the final part, we'll turn it over to you, the listener. What stood out to you? What questions came up? We want to hear your thoughts. Until then, keep exploring, keep asking those big questions.
And we're back, wrapping up our deep dive into the Apocrypha, specifically the Book of Enoch. I gotta say, it's been quite a journey. Fallen angels, prophecies, giants, it's all pretty mind-blowing.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? These ancient texts, they're like a window into another world, but they also reflect our own in ways we might not expect.
That's what I keep coming back to. These stories, they're thousands of years old, but the themes, the struggles, they're still so relevant today. It's like they're tapping into something universal about the human experience.
Absolutely. Whether it's that battle between good and evil or the search for meaning, the desire for something more, it's all there in the Book of Enoch.
Like that whole thing about the consequences of corruption, sin. It's not just about individuals. It's about society as a whole. Makes you wonder, are we making the same mistakes today?
It definitely makes you pause and reflect, right? The Book of Enoch, it's a cautionary tale about how fragile things are, how our choices ripple outward, affecting everyone.
But it's not all doom and gloom, right? There's also this glimmer of hope, this idea that things can be set right, that we can find our way back to a kind of harmony.
You got it. Even when things look bleak, the Book of Enoch reminds us that redemption is possible, that we can change, renew ourselves. It's a powerful message, and one that resonates across cultures and time periods.
That second chance, that chance to start over,
Yeah.
it's something we all seem to crave deep down. It speaks to this belief in the goodness of humanity, that we're not just defined by our mistakes.
And I think that's a really important message, especially today. We can get so caught up in the negativity, the bad news, that we forget about our capacity for change, for growth.
Another thing that struck me about the Book of Enoch is how it deals with knowledge, its power, but also its potential dangers.
The tree of knowledge, right? It's such a potent symbol. It represents that human thirst for understanding, that drive to unravel the mysteries of the universe. But it also warns us about the risks of seeking knowledge that's beyond our reach, or that we might misuse.
It's like knowledge itself isn't inherently good or bad. It's how we use it that matters.
Exactly. And in today's world where information is everywhere, that message is more important than ever. We have access to so much knowledge, but without wisdom, without ethics, it can be a dangerous thing.
The Book of Enoch, it's like the ancient voice whispering, be careful, think about the consequences.
It's a call for responsible knowledge, a reminder that our choices, how we apply what we know, it has a real impact.
So as we wrap up this exploration of the Book of Enoch, I think it's worth asking ourselves, what are we doing with the knowledge we have? Are we using it to build a better world? Or are we contributing to the chaos?
It's a question we all need to grapple with. The choices we make, they matter, they have consequences, not just for ourselves, but for everyone.
Well, this deep dive has certainly given me a lot to chew on. It's incredible how these ancient texts can still speak to us so powerfully, challenge our assumptions, make us question our place in the world.
They remind us that we're part of something bigger, this long chain of human experience, grappling with the same fundamental questions, the same hopes and fears.
So listener, as we sign off, we leave you with this. What did the Book of Enoch spark in you? What resonated? What questions are you still pondering? Keep exploring, keep seeking, keep those thinking caps on.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the Apocrypha. Until next time.